BoLS fans, AdamHarry here with Will from Privateer Press. We're going to go over Level 7 Invasion, one of their new board games coming out in September-ish. Okay, cool. So yeah, what's going on with Level 7 Invasion?
So Level 7 Invasion is the third chapter in the Level 7 story. We launched it with Level 7 Escape. Last year we had Level 7 Omega Protocol, and now we have Level 7 Invasion. In this game, we blow the scope of the world way out to a global conflict. We introduce a new alien race that's hunting the original alien race, and you have to play as the governments of the world defending the planet against this alien invasion.
Cool, cool. So, new alien race, so it's kind of like a Risk, but not.
It has aspects of a lot of games where you see a big board with a lot of little men on the board conducting the battle. It's also got development in technologies for each coalition. It's got resource management. So there's some diplomatic stuff you do with trading resources back and forth. And there's a lot of other stuff going on beyond just the fight that's happening. So you can imagine it as one of the games with one of those boards in it, but then a whole bunch of other things from other genres of board games and stuff stuck in on top.
Okay, cool. Well, let's go over the board real fast and then talk about some of the counters and stuff we have.
So the board represents the planet during the invasion. The first thing that happens when the Hydra invaders show up is they bomb the planet with horrendous poisons. So if you look at the way the stuff is broke down, like all of this is, the Mexican government survived well enough to kind of control all of this stuff. So there's not really individual governments left down here in this part of the map. The Mexican government kind of influences that, but they don't directly control it. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff going on. And we have the 5 coalitions split up by their colors.
Gotcha.
So if you're playing North America, all the blue stuff is yours, so you can keep track of it pretty easy.
Right.
The big red things are drop ships. They are the spawning points for the bad guys on the map, and the invader units are these red guys. There are a lot more red guys in the game than there are not red guys in the game. All the coalitions have their own colored human soldiers, and they buy those soldiers to put on the map to fight these guys, and there's a lot of back and forth with who gets killed during the game and who comes off the back on. The edges of the board track some things with card decks and some progress. And then the coalition console is a really, really important part of the game. That coalition console tracks the status of your territories, your resources, your incomes, the terror of your people, and your overall health. This big military-industrial complex style abstractly represents your workforce and your factories and all that stuff that keeps your coalition running. As you take damage during the game, it comes off of this dial. If that dial ever hits 0, you as a coalition cease to exist. Now the good thing for the rest of the world at that point is you don't always need everybody to survive the game to win it. By the rules, you're not a winner if you're not alive at the end of the game, so the game does encourage you to play selfishly to a certain extent.
But you're working together to complete the overall goals, but if somebody dies, you can still keep going.
Depends on at what point in the game you're at and who dies in particular, but yes, if I decide, and the rest of the players agree with me, that we don't really need to save you as you're going down, then you're not going to get any help from the rest of the world, and we might still win the game without you.
So, good segue, how do you actually win the game then?
So, Kronos has these project cards. There are 7 of them. Each of the first 6 belongs to a coalition. So, South America has the very first card. You pool your resources as a world to build those cards based on where the Kronos standee is.
If Kronos, who's Kronos again?
He's the evil alien overlord of the first alien race we introduced in the series.
Gotcha.
So Dr. Kronos has the key to defeating the Hydra invaders.
Gotcha.
But he doesn't have the manpower and the resources to complete it. The Earth has to help him help that. So when Kronos is in a coalition that has their card and it's along the series of cards at the right point, you can build that card as a world.
Gotcha.
That card then gets slotted under the board, it gives you a new rule, and it gets you one place closer to victory.
Sweet.
So then you have to move Kronos around the world and keep him safe so that you can complete the game and all those 7 cards. The very final game card is on the board so you can complete it no matter where he's at.
Sweet.
That's part of that. I can let you die, but sometimes I don't want to.
Right.
If your card has not been built yet, we need you to be alive because Kronos has to go to where you are. He can't go into your place if you're dead.
Right. Makes sense.
But as soon as your card gets built, South America having the worst situation in that position because their card can be built first round.
Right.
So they might just get written off at some point in the game because
you're done with your objective. We don't really need you. Just give us your stuff and die.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody plays like that.
Yeah. So combat in the game is one of the other aspects that I wanted to really separate it from games that it looks like.
Right.
We have dice in the game. The dice are used to resolve a whole lot of stuff. There are 3 pluses, 2 equals, and 1 minus on those dice.
Okay.
When you go to have a fight, you resolve all the combats in your coalition that are in contested territory. So a territory that has humans and Hydra in it.
Right. So like this, for instance.
Yes. So like Argentina. You first compare the power of your soldiers versus the power of the Hydra. Okay. If Hydra start the game at power 1, most human coalitions start at 0. So the Hydra are already the better side. As you upgrade your technologies, you will get more power. And as you kill the Hydra, they will adapt and get more power. So that will go back and forth during the game. So you first compare power. If one side has distinctly more power, they're automatically the attacker. It doesn't matter anything else. If it's tied, you then look at number of soldiers. So if the humans can tie their power and then outnumber the Hydra, they can be the attacker. If both those things are tied, the Hydra are the aggressors in this, so they're the attacker. When you resolve a combat, you roll a die. On a plus, which remember, that happens 3 times out of 6, the defender loses a guy because the attacker won the fight. Then you roll the die again and you remove another figure until there's no more figures. On an equals, you lose 1 of each side. And on a minus, one of the defenders actually wins and kills an attacker. So you don't say, I'm going to put 8 guys in this zone versus your 5 guys, and I'm going to roll 10 dice, and you have 3, and I'm going to win. You try to set your power up and your figures up, and then the die resolves all that stuff without any of your control.
So it's beneficial to be the attacker.
It is always beneficial to be the attacker, but the defender has a chance to kill the attacker on an equals or a minus. He just loses a guy on that equals. So even if, for example, in that Argentina, the Hydra are the attackers, those 3 human soldiers give the human player 3 dice rolls to try and kill that one Hydra. So you still want to try and get bigger numbers than them, even if your powers are off.
So numbers, more is better.
Numbers are better, but remember, there are 60 humans in the game and 75 Hydra. So if every figure's on the map, the humans are outnumbered.
Cool. Anything else? What are the event cards?
So the event cards are one of the things I was just about to bring up. They control how the Hydra operate. So during every round, every single coalition gets an event card. There are 2 things on that event card. There's an Alpha event and a Bravo event. There's also a Ground War. You as a player secretly choose Alpha or Bravo. When you make that choice, you put the card at the top of the board on the Alpha or the Bravo designated. When everyone's made their choice, all 5 cards are on the table, the player that controls Kronos, the first player for the game, picks those cards up and resolves them. All the Alpha events are going to happen, and all the Bravo events are going to happen, and all the Ground Wars are going to happen. So the Alpha events will say something different from the Bravo events, and it's a slightly variant version of each event. So Paranoia might say, your Terra goes up, or it might say you lose $1 million. So America, as the coalition that makes $14 million every round compared to Africa's 9, might choose the version of Paranoia that takes money away from the world. So that's another part of that semi-cooperativeness of the game that encourages you to sometimes be selfish because you are better at taking certain kinds of damage than other players. You resolve those. The Ground War section determines which dropships spit out guys. So dropship 1, dropship 2, dropship 3. And then as the game progresses and things get worse and worse, it transitions into the devastation wave, which is all the red stuff in the game. Like the bottom of the dropship card, that 4th dropship is red, so that's happening during devastation. Devastation events are red. Devastation adaptation cards are red. If you ever get to them, they are red. So that's one of the ways it triggers the middle of the game. So if you start seeing red stuff, it's getting worse. And all you have to do is complete those 7 cards in that Kronos Project track and then be alive. Which is not always the easiest thing.
Cool, so obviously there are 5 factions, so 5-player game.
3 to 5 player game.
3 to 5 player,
Learning it, since the turn order is a little bit to wrap your brain around, since there's so much simultaneous action going on. you probably want to use 5 people to learn it the first time.
Right on.
But I've seen it played and played it numerous times with only 4, and you just have one person play more than one because you need the entire world economy to play the game.
Cool. What about game time? Like, how long does a typical game take?
So new players will make enough mistakes to probably lose the game within a couple hours.
Gotcha.
Experienced players, me and 3 or 4 of the other guys play tested for time a few times, and we could beat the game in 8 rounds, and that took about 2.5 hours. We didn't always all survive, but we got to completion.
So we were looking, it's a little bit longer.
It says 2 to 4 on the box, but I don't think it'll go to 4 very often unless you're really better than new, so you're not making all the mistakes, but you're not quite experienced to not make any of the real bad mistakes.
It's a good Saturday afternoon type of game.
Yes, it's a Saturday afternoon, but it's not a weekend game.
Right, not a weekend.
Unless you just have really slow playing players.
I don't know any of those slow players.
Nobody does.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, Will, was there anything else you wanted to cover? Anything we glossed over? Anything
there is a lot more to it, but we could be talking for hours and hours and hours.
And we have a flight to catch.
The indefiniteness of the game.
It is the last day.
I made the game. I could talk about it all day, so we should probably just cut it off there.
Right on.
And then see what happens.
Cool. Well, good luck with it. It looks awesome. Can't
Thanks.
wait to play it. Will from Private Press, AdamHarry from BoLS signing off. Have a good one, guys.